Yeah. Hip hop, lowriders, khakis and chinos, Chicano fashion, feeling it. Where the Mexicans at? The fuck is going on? Paulie here on the Latino slant. Cuvo, ¿qué pasó? What's happening? What am I talking about in this video? Hope you're well. Hope you subscribed. Porque es lo mejor that you are. Mm. Man, let me tell you, I was with you guys. All the kind of 90s, 2000s, early aughts hip hop heads just celebrating watching the Super Bowl halftime party. Then started seeing all the lowriders and all the fashion. Then I started thinking about Compton and Los Angeles and West Coast and hip hop and lowrider culture. And I don't see a damn Chicano in the halftime show. And it's mind boggling. It is mind boggling that my silly head goes to, but I was not alone. And I think this is just important to uh to document and talk about and move on from it because like with many subcultures, the main culture tends to take its best from different subcultures, smaller cultures in a sense that don't have the mainstream spotlight and utilize the best of those. And that is not new to the Chicano culture since the 30s, 1930s. So I went on Twitter and my prolific friend Chicano Mundo kind of had the same idea. So I wanted to share, let's break it up. Let's talk about some of his tweets. And then I want to go to an artist who was really featured in a lot of the aspects of the Super Bowl and its coverage with Pepsi and all that corporate stuff. But before we do that, let's go to Chicano Mundo and what Homie had to say. And I really think community, you will love where he comes from on a lot of issues. And I suggest you give him a follow. So here he is. Here he is at the Super Bowl, right? This is right before the halftime show. If the Super Bowl halftime show wants to showcase LA hip hop scene, they should have MC Criminal, King Flip, and Mr. Capone, and countless other Chicano artists as well. So he's already saying, "Hey, we're the Chicano hip hop artists because they're just as influential part of West Coast rap, which you just don't hear about when you think of West Coast rap. Dre, Snoop Dogg. Mm. And by no means I am an expert. I'm a normie when it comes to hip hop music and West Coast rap. But what I am going to do is I'm going to link you guys to some great articles from the Daily Chela on Kid Frost, who is the music we just played. And if you noticed in the video, that's an old video. A younger Danny Trejo is in it, and from Blood In Blood Out, Jesse Borrego is in it. So it's really great. It's a great song. We're going to connect you with those articles and on the origins, the history of lowriders. Now, let me just tell you, well, let me pause on that because I want to keep on with what Chicano Mundo says. So he's watching the halftime show and he says khaki with a couple of creases. That's Chicano as well. It's a street fashion that began with cholos, Chicanos, pachucos, 20s and 30s, especially right after in the 40s, right after World War II. And that's just it's you know as a guy who went through Chicano studies and kind of researched a lot, that's pretty well documented. So there's that, guys. And if you're thinking, listen, if you're thinking that this is a hip hop black uh, cultural aspect, the fashion and the lowriders, I get it. I get it because you just don't see Chicanos in the mainstream being spotlighted when it comes to the lowrider culture. We are the fathers of the lowrider culture. That's just how it is. He Chicano Mundo goes on to say, "Dope halftime show. Kendrick always puts on a show, and we love our hip hop artists. I mean, absolutely. This is no knock on them. It's just it's just a couple things that we noticed, right? Um, Now we get to some meat and potatoes here. Picture Kid Frost popping out of a lowrider with "This Is for La Raza," which was a big 1990 hit. "This Is for La Raza." I mean, fantastic song. The crowd would have erupted. Um, I don't know if the crowd would have erupted like they were erupting with Mary J. and Kendrick. I think there would have been a lot of respect shown that Dre and Snoop Dogg are showing respect because the reality is Kid Frost and his son have worked with these artists for decades, and Kid Frost is toured the world, multi selling artist, the whole thing. So I think it would have been a really really beautiful moment to have had Kid Frost come out of a lowrider, singing a little bit of a song, because he is an LA original, and you can't say that about Eminem, Mary J. Blige. I don't even think 50 Cent is from LA. I could be wrong, but you know, we're talking about showcasing Los Angeles and Compton and South LA and LA, and to not showcase, I mean, I didn't even see a god dang mariachi. Maybe I missed it. But yeah, I look for these things. I know. I know. Mm. So he says that because he's retweeting Brandon Lorne Maxwell, who's the founder of Daily Chella. And he says, from an influential standpoint, they should have included Kid Frost. He had been around since the 1980s and put Chicano rappers on the commercial map. Absolutely. And the article I'm talking about is written by Brandon, and we're going to connect you again with that article. And it's a it's a it's very interesting to see a moment in time where literally the whole globe is watching, to showcase, a place where you're from, culture, music, art, murals, lowriders, tattoos, the whole thing, and not to be included. And this is not a thing of like, representation. This is the thing where like we created this shit. What the fuck is going on? Yeah. So I'm gonna connect you with two articles on this, and big ups to Chicano Mundo, Daily Chela, for just pointing these out. I'm going to connect you to two articles from the Daily Chela. Now, let's move on. What I want to do is now talk about an artist that was featured with Pepsi and with the NFL during the Super Bowl. I think it's really, really cool to spotlight this artist. His name is Mr. Cartoon. He's an artist works in all different sorts of mediums. And here's his signature that he just did artwork for Pepsi. And as you can see, our background also has his artwork that was done on the Impala that we're going to show. And these are, you can go get these cans or whatever. I'm not a Pepsi fan, and I'm definitely not sponsored by Pepsi for this segment. But the artwork is pretty beautiful. So this is him saying, "I head into the Pepsi halftime. Legendary artist Mr. Cartoon designed some Pepsi cans inspired by West Coast hip hop." I don't know. I don't know if what I'm seeing is West Coast hip hop. I just when I see this, Mr. Cartoon has his own style, but I just see, you know, Chicano art. All right. Now, before I show you that video, let's go back, and this is a feature, kind of like commercial doc. It's only a minute and 50. It's less than 2 minutes. It's on Mr. Cartoon and his involvement with Pepsi in the NFL this year. The big game in this year's insane Pepsi halftime show, featuring some of my homies, is coming this Sunday. I teamed up with Pepsi to create a one-of-a-kind lowrider to celebrate my hometown LA and brand's commitment to the culture. All right, so let's open this up.
Started very humble in the streets,
Whenever I'm watching videos off of Twitter, it's always kind of a weird thing. All right, let's see if we can open this up.
My name is Mr. Cartoon.
And I want to make sure that, yes, great, fantastic. Okay, let's start from the beginning.
My name is Mr. Cartoon. I was born in downtown LA. I was raised in San Pedro in the harbor area.
Okay, so I just want to stop just for geographical purposes. As far as this, and I'm super nitpicking here. He was born in the heart of downtown, heart of LA, and then he grew up in San Pedro, which is the port of LA and south of downtown. And when I say south of downtown, I'm talking, I think, about 15 miles. Then they cut to a shot of Hollywood. So geographically, that's nonsense. So whoever directed and edited this thing, it's this branding that Los Angeles always, whenever like there's a commercial or lo que sea, they always have to put the pinche Hollywood sign up. So just ignore that. Listen to homie's words. But San Pedro is a great place. It's a very unique place in LA with the port. And filmmaker Kenneth Castillo, a friend of ours, also is from that area. Okay, let us continue. I do like the music. I love the music underneath.
He's in San Pedro in the harbor area. Hip hop started very humble in the streets. It was a way to express yourself. The beats were so dope, and people were doing graffiti on the walls. It was DJing. People were pop locking. Hip hop is a culture.
Okay, so we've heard all that before. As far as from other artists to documentaries on hip hop. I've got no problem with what he said. It's a culture, and absolutely, the different districts of Los Angeles really picked up on hip hop in the 80s and then into the 90s. But I love this next part. Here we go.
When I got into lowriding and hip hop were kind of disconnected.
Okay, when I got into lowriding and hip hop were disconnected. Absolutely. Brief, quick history, lowriding. In the 40s, Chicano men right, in the Southwest, the American Southwest, from El Paso to LA, started tinkering with their cars, started low riding them out, lowering them out, tricking them out, artwork. This was it juxt to what was happening with Anglo men at the time, as far as hot rods and fast drag races. The lowrider was the opposite, the counterculture, the counter establishment has always been part of the fabric of what it means to be Chicano. And we're not even talking about politics. We're just talking about socioeconomic. So that had nothing to do with hip hop until much later. And we're talking now decades into the lowriding culture. And again, we're going to connect you with all that good stuff. But he is not wrong here that there was a disconnect. Um, Probably what the homies were listening to back in the day was anything from R&B, rock and roll, then to soul music, R&B in the '60s, and your fare of Mexican regional music, from mariachis to corridos, and that changed as well starting in the '90s. Everything changed with hip hop.
The West Coast brought those lowriders into hip hop. Now it's a part of life.
You know what? Let me see something really quick. Did I see it? Let me see something really quick that I didn't catch. I I'm looking at that album cover. Okay, so that album cover is East Side Story. I don't know what volume it is, but that's really cool. What that is, and let me blow this up the other way. What that is a series of records, volumes of Chicano soul artists that have been around for decades. That is really cool that they shot that. And if anyone can enlighten me even more, please leave a comment. I think we also need to do a video on the East Side Story volumes, which were cassette tapes and vinyl. That's fantastic. That is so dope. Ooh, I love that. Okay, let's continue.
Now it's a part of life. Pepsi had perfect timing with this collaboration because the big game is coming up. All kinds of lowriders and custom cars are going to come.
Okay, so he's putting some designs together, and then you see his crew, his team, getting to work on this Impala.
Come out. This is like a dream build. I wanted to catch people's eyes and be like, man, they use a 67 in that.
67 Impala.
The holy grail for me is to be able to work on that hood, see it on the car finished, rolling down the street.
His holy grail, and that was a holy grail. It continues to be of their extension of themselves in their artwork on their cars. Wonderful. It's another huge characteristic of the lowrider Chicano culture.
I wanted to use elements that are appealing to everybody, to all of our cultures coming together, and showing that influence of hip hop. I think that low riding and hip hop bring everybody together.
So there's the car.
Give people
beautiful
inspiration, man.
I'm gonna defer to the Daily Cella and Brandon. I want to say it was probably in the '80s when African American lowriders car clubs started sprouting out of Linwood and Compton. But I am not for sure about that statement. But at that time, the '80s and then definitely into the '90s, the African American hip hop culture definitely picked up on the low riding culture and started their own clubs, started their own cars, and it became part of West Coast rap. It's synonymous with this, with their music.
Bring everybody together. Give people inspiration, man. It's like driving a painting down the street.
Hmm.
Like something that should be in a museum is actually in this little garage.
Nice.
And I hope people connect to it and can see that it's honest and it's from the heart.
It's honest and from the heart. Love it. Listen, all props to Mr. Cartoon, and for Pepsi to do this.
In this little garage.
Um, my again, I would have loved to if this had I really would have loved a 30-second commercial of this during the actual Super Bowl for millions to see our beautiful subculture, what it means to be Chicano and to be a lowrider. I mean, it's an amazing American, unique creation, you know. And so it was just a head scratcher when I saw that omission during the halftime show. But I get it. Listen, that's why I'm doing this video for you guys. I think it's really, really vital and important. Now, one last thing I want to show from Mr. Cartoon was that he not only let's shrink this. He not only did this series for the Super Bowl, but he also did something for Odell Beckham Jr. And let's go to this. Nice. Beautiful. So he did his cleats, him and his son. I love that Los Angeles right there. There it is. I mean, you got to give props to. I'm not gonna, blow Pepsi's. I'm not gonna listen. It's cool that this was done and that Mr. Cartoon was representing Chicano artists, and that he did these for Odell Beckham Jr. So this was a collaboration with Nike. Okay. Let's watch that. Check it out one more time. So he took these cleats and basically worked on them. I love this Los Angeles thing. Odell Beckham Jr. with his son coming in, I believe. I want to get this Los Angeles. I would love to get like a cap like that, or I don't know about a jacket. Definitely a cap you can wear on the show. That is sick. That is sick. Okay. Well, that is really it, guys. And all I could say is, in my humble years of documenting Chicano culture and kind of just digging more and more into our American past, that the majority culture always takes from the minority culture, and here the majority culture in hip hop is the African American culture, which is wonderful. But Chicanos are lowriders, man. Lowriders, and even hip hop. So if it's myself, Daily Chella, Chicano Mundo, and these other people, we gotta just say, hey, check us out. We're the originators, and it's not just a matter of just random representation. It's like pay some respects, homie, to la familia. We'll see you the next time. Please comment. I absolutely had a great time showing this video to you guys, talking about this. Be well, everybody, and wherever you're at, keep your slant fuerte. Órale.